What's up, YouTube? Bay Area Baller back again. Welcome to the first episode of Baller Talk. This is where I'm hitting on relevant topics throughout all sports. Could be basketball, football, baseball, probably will be the primary three. But we're talking all things sports. And first, we'll start off with the NBA, right? We just saw the NBA All Star weekend. And you're hearing a lot of debate about, the All-Star game, about how the players, they're not playing hard. It was disappointing to watch. Yeah, I'll say that, but I was tuned in. There wasn't much else to watch going on in the sports world. So I was locked in to All-Star weekend. Yeah, the All-Star game, it is what it is. The players don't want to get hurt. They're not going to play hard. I will say the two All-Star games before this one I thought were really competitive. Last year we saw Steph went off for 50 points. He was hitting, I think he hit like 16 threes. It was insane. I thought that All-Star game was good, and then the year before that was the first year with the Elam ending. I thought that All-Star game was spectacular. The players really turned it on in the second half. But they didn't do that this year. It is what it is. Now, the skills challenge, the three-point contest, the dunk contest, I enjoyed it. I thought the Saturday festivities were phenomenal. The three-point contest is always something that I like to tune into. Shout out to Dame Lillard. I was happy to see him take home the three-point trophy. And then you got Mac McClung showing out in the slam dunk contest. This guy was on the Warriors Summer League, so I was watching him play on the summer. Guy's a spectacular athlete, spectacular dunker. I thought McClung was really fun to watch in the dunk contest. So we'll start off with that. We got a few people in the chat. We'll say what's up to E. Kim. Shout out E. Kim. Thanks for coming by, Kim. Eric says, evening, folks. What's up, E? Thanks for stopping by. Topic number one when we're talking NBA. I want to go straight to the title contenders. Okay, some years it feels like there's only two or three teams that have a legitimate chance at bringing home the championship trophy. This year, I feel like things are opened up a bit, right? Why don't we look at the Eastern Conference? And first, we'll start off in the East and see, okay, who's got a legit chance at winning an NBA championship? You look at the top of the standings and you got the Boston Celtics. Obviously, they were there last year, led by Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. We know they're superstars. What I will say is Jason Tatum, this guy was disappointing last year in the finals. The Warriors had his number. Tatum was struggling. If you want to look at the percentages all dropped from Tatum in the finals. Jaylen Brown seemed to step it up a notch, but Tatum, so we'll see where he goes from there. Again, that was, their first taste of, big time playoff basketball. I have a feeling the Celtics and especially Jason Tatum are going to be better equipped this year if they make a run like that. And the Celtics, they added some depth at the deadline. They got a Mike Muscala, who's a really good stretch five. They added Malcolm Brogdon in the offseason. That's a huge acquisition. Malcolm Brogdon's just a really good player. They still got, Derek White, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Grant Williams, Robert Williams. So they got the big guy who can block some shots in the paint. So they're pretty deep. The Celtics are well coached. They play hard on both sides of the ball. So the Celtics are definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I think there's a clear top two teams in the East. Like that's the top tier are the Celtics. And then the next team I'm about to mention, the Bucks, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo does have a wrist injury. Doesn't sound like it's all that serious, but it's something to monitor. So the Celtics and the Bucks, those are the top tier in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion. And when we're looking deeper in at the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously they have Giannis. Drew Holiday is a really good guard. defensively, offensively. Brook Lopez still getting it done. He's just aging like fine wine. One of the most underrated rim protectors in the NBA is Brook Lopez. The guy's averaging two and a half blocks per game this season. And we know about how skilled he is offensively, but it's like even defensively, the guy's still swatting shots down in the paint. Bobby Portis is another really good player. Just keeps getting better and better. Chris Middleton's there. I know he's missed a large chunk of the season, but he came back right before the All-Star break, so he's probably warming up and getting heated up. Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Javon Carter, a few guards, just NBA guards that can contribute. And then their X factor when I'm looking at Milwaukee is Joe Ingles, the Aussie. Joe Ingles, the left-handed shooter. He's just a really smart player. I've always wanted him on the Warriors, but it just hasn't worked out, financially. But Joe Ingles can definitely help the Bucks. He's coming off an ACL, but he's back, and they're starting to ramp him up. Man, if he gets back to where he was with the Utah Jazz, for the Bucks in the playoffs, that'd be a scary sight. Kim says NBA hasn't been the same since Jordan retired. I hear you, Kim, but my Warriors have stepped it up since Jordan retired. So that's some extra incentive for me and my favorite team, which is the Golden State Warriors. So in the Eastern Conference, Celtics, Bucks, clearly the two top teams in the East. And I would say one of those teams more than likely is going to represent the Eastern Conference in the finals. But I got two teams who I think still have a shot. So essentially, I'm giving four teams a chance at making the finals in the Eastern Conference. And team three, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay. Anytime you got a player like Joel Embiid with his size, with his skill level, I like to give you a shot. And it's not only Joel Embiid, he's got a few other players that can carry a load. And we're talking James Harden. He's averaging 21.4 a game. The guy's still a bucket. He can shoot it from deep. We know he likes to get into the paint, draw fouls. And then you go to their third and fourth guys on the roster. And Tyrese Maxey, again, he's averaging nearly 20 points a game. Tyrese Maxey's a really talented combo guard. And then you got Tobias Harris, because wings are really important come playoff time. And they got a good wing. I like Tobias Harris. Is he overpaid? Yes. But Tobias Harris, he's just a really good player. He can stretch the floor, right? Obviously, he can shoot it from deep. He can get to the rim. He's a bigger built wing who you can stick on potentially a Giannis or stick on a Tatum or a Jaylen Brown. They got that wing who can kind of compete with some of the other elite wings in the East. But really, when it comes down to the Sixers, if they did make a run in the Eastern Conference, it would come down to Melton and Milton. All right. No, I'm not getting that confused. That's DeAnthony Melton. That's Shake Milton. Both of these guys are averaging about 10 points a game, and they're shooting really good from three-point range. And the 76ers will need that come playoff time. Both of them are near 40%, which is excellent. Fable came by. We're live on YouTube. What's up, Fable? Thanks for coming by. We got some football talk coming up here shortly, but I just want to get to these NBA championship contenders because this is baller talk where we're talking all things sports. You guys in the comments, you know what to do. Let me know your sports takes. Could be badminton, ping pong, whatever you want to bring to the table, make it happen. Okay, so I talked about the Sixers. I'm giving them, I think they got a chance, all right? The last team that I think has a shot at competing in the Eastern Conference is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They made a big-time offseason trade to get Donovan Mitchell, who he's took his game to another level. I don't think I've ever seen Donovan Mitchell shoot the three ball as well as he has right now, just with the amount of confidence, the dude's pulling up from anywhere. He's getting that range like a Steph Curry, like a Dame Lillard. Mitchell is really stretching out that range, and he puts a lot of stress on a defense. Okay, but he's not doing it by himself. They got some other talented players. Darius Garland averaging 22 a game. Evan Mobley. I love Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is so freaking good. I can't help but think about when the Warriors drafted James Wiseman. Evan Mobley's doing what they wanted James Wiseman to do. Evan Mobley, he's so supremely talented. He really he's a special player. You know, he's so skilled, he's so long. His ability on defense to move his feet and block shots at his size is tremendous. You know, they got Jared Allen, who's just another lengthy shot blocker. So they got a couple guys that can deter you from the rim. And then, Karis LeVert, Seti Osman's getting some minutes. Ricky Rubio is back. Anyway, they added Danny Green. I believe that was an acquisition they just made in the buyout market. So I'll give the Cavaliers a slight chance, slim chance. They're title contenders in the Eastern Conference. But why don't we move it out west, where the Denver Nuggets, to me, have separated themselves from the pack. I got Denver at the top of the Western Conference. Nikola Jokic, the back-to-back MVP winner. Jokic is just so fun to watch, man. This dude is so skilled, and he's so big. The way he sees the floor is special. It's like he knows where all 10 players are on that basketball court, like at any given moment. And that's just what's so impressive about Jokic. And then he's got this soft touch. He can bully you down low. When Jokic gets that low post position, dude, it's hard to stop, man, because he's got that soft touch. He just knows how to get position, and he's so big, you're not blocking it. Jokic is big time. Okay, well, and the Warriors played the Nuggets last year in the first round of the NBA playoffs, and they handled them. But I will say the Nuggets, they were without Jamal Murray. They were without Michael Porter Jr. These are two tremendously talented, really gifted basketball players. And you're seeing it. That's why the Nuggets right now are on top of the Western Conference. And in addition to that, Aaron Gordon seems like he's playing some of the best basketball of his career, right? I grew up watching Aaron Gordon's older brother, Drew Gordon, at Midi. Those WCAL matchups, I was in the stands screaming my head off. And Aaron's brother was also just a big time athlete, dunker. But anyway, back to the Nuggets. Aaron Gordon, he's living around the rim, and that's where you want Gordon. He had become too perimeter oriented, in my opinion, the last few years. Even when he was with Orlando, he was too perimeter oriented. But now they got Aaron Gordon living in the paint. He's a lob threat. We obviously know he's one of the best dunkers we've ever seen. Supreme athleticism. Again, we're talking about these versatile wings that teams need come playoff time. Aaron Gordon's a versatile wing. He's a good defender. Definitely helping this Nuggets team. And you throw in guys like Contavious Caldwell Pope. They got Thomas Bryant, a new addition. This guy Vlatko Konkar, I've seen him have some good games. He's impressed me on a couple occasions. You got a young player in Christian Brown who gets some minutes for him. Right now, I think the Nuggets are the cream of the crop of the Western Conference. It might be a hot take because I know the Phoenix Suns are the hot name, the hot team everyone wants to talk about. I think they're the betting favorites. Maybe the chat can correct me if I'm wrong in terms of Vegas. And let's go to Phoenix because they're number 2 on Baller's big board in terms of Western Conference championship contenders. right? We know, and they're right now they're fifth in the Western Conference standings, but they've missed their key players have missed large chunks of this season. When we're talking Booker was out, we're talking Chris Paul was out, and now you bring in Kevin Durant. I mean, the star value is there in Phoenix. And what I can't believe they were able to get Terrence Ross in the buyout market. That's a hell of a get come buyout season. There's always a handful of players that are impact players that become available in the buyout market. And Ross was one of them. Another one, Russell Westbrook. He just signed with the Clippers. We're going to get to the Clippers here in a minute. But when we're talking Phoenix Suns, okay, yeah, chat's live. The chat's live. Harry says, Jokic is great, but he ain't the MVP. Harry, let me know who your MVP is. Jokic is the back-to-back MVP, and the dude's been playing sensational basketball. I mean, every time I see the Nuggets on the TV, Jokic has like a triple double. I mean, what's his average? His average has to be close to a triple double. Anyway, I got the Suns pulled up here. Suns, you can't count them out. When we're looking at their bench, there is something to be desired when we're looking at their bench. Their roster is looking top heavy at this moment, right? So we'll see how that bench shakes out. I do like Jock Landale. He's just a solid big guy coming off the bench. TJ Warren, he's only played 2 games this year. We'll see. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Suns. Should they be the favorite in the Western Conference? Or you guys like me? You guys like the Nuggets? Or maybe another team? Maybe there's another team in the West that you think is going to come out. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so we talked about the top 2 teams in the West. Now, let's go to the Golden State Warriors because I can't count out my Golden State Warriors. I have to say, it hasn't been pretty. This first half of the season leading up to the All-Star break, it's just been a roller coaster ride for the Golden State Warriors. It's felt like all of their key players just haven't been clicking at the same time this year. It's like Jordan Poole was having big turnover problems at the beginning of the year. Klay Thompson started out the season cold. Andrew Wiggins missed a chunk of the year with his ab strain, and then he had multiple illnesses after that. So Wiggins missed a large stretch. Now Steph Curry's out. So really, it's been a rough start or a rough start of the season leading up to this All-Star break for the Golden State Warriors. But let me tell you this. I think this team is primed to get things in order at the right time, meaning they're going to peak come playoff time. As long as they get in, ideally, yeah, you want to avoid the play-in games. Absolutely. You want to avoid the play-in games. But if this team gets into the playoffs, not a single team's going to want to play the Golden State Warriors. And obviously, a lot is predicated on 30. Let's see, we got 30 up there. Yeah, 30's up there. Yeah. Just looking over our shoulders. Steph Curry, he's got to be right. Now, doesn't sound like the Warriors are overly concerned about Steph Curry and the knee. I think he's going to be back here. I mean, they haven't put out a release, but it doesn't sound like it's a question whether he'll be back before the playoffs. They sound confident in that. Gary Payton, the acquisition of Gary Payton. Again, we're talking about the Warriors potentially could be peaking at the right time. Well, lots predicated on Gary Payton. GP2, he's the best defender I've ever seen on ball. It is. What he did last year was just insane, guys. You know how many times I just saw him steal the ball, pick the pocket of another professional point guard? Like he was making point guards last year look like they never played basketball. It was like me just playing with some second graders, just stealing the ball from him. That's what Gary Payton was doing. This dude's defense is on another level. And the way he fits within this system, I mean, I love it. While it does suck that the Warriors whiffed with the second pick of the draft on James Wiseman, I like the acquisition of Gary Payton. The dude's defense is insane. He's the tallest 6'3" player I've ever seen, right? How many alley-oops does he catch running the baseline? He just knows where to be. And he was hitting threes last year. That was the thing that was the most impressive thing about Gary Payton to me. It was like, the defense was insane, but the dude was hitting open threes. Like, he shot it, I want to say close to 40% last year. So if he can keep that up, I mean, that's big time come the playoffs, because we know what's been the Warriors' Achilles heel, right, this year. It's been the defense. These guys give up 130 a night, it feels like 120, 130 a night. So Gary Payton, he needs to get right. He's missed a lot of time this year. But I like the Warriors training staff. I like their ability just to get players back on the floor. And they do it the right way. They're not going to shove Tortorall down his throat just to get him on the court. They're going to get him right, get the ab feeling good, and get Gary Payton back to his dominant defensive ways. Fable says GP2 swung games. We were likely to lose with his defense. Absolutely, dude. Absolute game changer. I love watching GP2 play defense. E. Kim. E. Kim's a historian of Bulls basketball, and he tells you Rodman and Pippen are the greatest defenders, and they could guard all 5 positions. You know what? Kim's right. Kim's right. Rodman and Pippen were spectacular. And Kim's watching that down in the Chicago area, so he was locked in on that Bulls team. Now, GP2, he's probably not, you don't want him to guard Jokic down in the paint, but GP2 can guard 1, 2, 3 for sure. 1, 2, 3. It could be one of these big wings, whether it's a Tatum, whether it's a Brown. GP2 can guard 1 through 3 just superbly. So I'm not counting out the Golden State Warriors. It hasn't been pretty, but I think this team's going to peak at the right time towards the end of the year, right before the playoffs. And that's what they're going to need to make a run at a championship. Okay, who else? I'm going a little longer on NBA than I expected. Let's just hit over the other Western Conference contenders. And I got to go to the Clippers. Fellas, I got to go to the Clippers. I know you're like, the Clippers? Dude, Kawhi Leonard, man. Kawhi Leonard is spectacular. I was watching the Clippers play the Warriors before the All-Star break, and Kawhi was in like just Hall of Fame form, just draining threes. Everyone calls DeMar DeRozan the king of the mid-range. Rightfully so. DeMar DeRozan has a great mid-range. So does Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard in the mid-range is absolutely spectacular as well. Paul George, man. Paul George is just a streaky dude. Like this, I was watching him in the All-Star game. He's getting wide open looks from 3-point range, and he's just clanking everything. So if playoff P shows up, then the Celtics can absolutely represent the Western Conference in the finals. And I think that a lot's predicated on playoff P, whether Paul George is going to show up. What kind of Paul George are you going to get? Okay, when we're looking at the rest of the Clippers roster, Norman Powell, good player. Ivica Zubac, good player. I like Zubac, the big man in the paint. They got Eric Gordon. I mean, how'd they do that? How'd they get Eric Gordon? Plucked him off the Rockets at the trade deadline. I mean, that's a big-time move. Eric Gordon's just a bucket. The dude can shoot it. He's a flat-out scorer. So, yeah, and they added a point guard, Highland. They added Bones Highland too. So I like what the Clippers did at the deadline, kind of bolstered their depth. Fable says the Warriors defense is too obsessed with making a play instead of making the offense take tough, contested, low percentage shots and pressuring passes. Fable, I agree with that. I agree with that. Quit going for steals. Just play sound defense. Make your opponent take a tough shot every time down the court. I like where you're going with that, Fable. Yeah, too often we can't stay in front of ball handlers this year. Yeah, because when you give up dribble penetration, what does that do? It collapses the defense. You're kicking out to open shooters. So absolutely. Keep ball handlers in front of you. And that's where it's like, Ty Jerome's not a good defender. Klay Thompson, has he lost a step defensively? Kind of looks like it. Jordan Poole, the guy's a turnstile. I'm sorry. Jordan Poole, that's where I want to see a big improvement from Jordan Poole this offseason. Like we've heard, he likes to live in the gym. The dude's a workout guru. Work on your defense, Jordan, because dudes are blowing by you. Please. He's improved the turnovers. I'll give Jordan credit. I was getting on about his turnovers early on, maybe the first 20 games of the year. He was leading the NBA in turnovers. Feels like he's cleaned it up lately. So I want to acknowledge that and commend Jordan for that aspect. Yeah, okay. That's all I got with the Clippers. They're to be monitored. They're a good basketball team. So I gave you 4 in the East. That would be 4 in the West. I mean, the Kings, fellas, the Kings are a good story, but I don't think they're title contenders. Prove me wrong, Sacktown. I know you're just up the road. Prove me wrong, Sack. I like Sabonis. I like Fox. I like Barnes. I like Keegan Murray, the rookie. But I don't know. I need the Kings to prove it to me. Are you guys buying into the Kings? Are they NBA title contenders? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Hey, those of you watching right now, hey, hit the like for me because we got to get some more bodies in here. Boost it up. Let's see. What do I got? Yeah, and let's get a cameo from my boy Chardall.
Make sure you like and subscribe.
There it is. Rounding out the Western Conference, the Mavericks, adding Kyrie Irving obviously helps. You know, are they title contenders? Well, they got Christian Wood. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet with Dallas. I got to see it. I need to see more. How does Kyrie and Luka, 2 ball dominant guys, how's the cohesiveness? And then, okay, the last team I'm going to mention. So I gave you 4 in the East, 4 in the West. I'm going to give you a 5th team. And I hate to do it because I don't like this team, but it needs to be mentioned. The Lakers. The LA Lakers. Boo. We don't like the Lakers, but I loved what they did at the deadline. They got better, right? They swapped Russell Westbrook for D'Angelo Russell. That's an upgrade. They needed shooting. They got Malik Beasley, another shooter. They got Jarrett Vanderbilt, just another wing who can play some D. Vanderbilt's just a solid player. They got Hachimura. So it's like, man, the Lakers, they just got better. Are they title contenders? Like maybe kind of. What I will say is like the Warriors, I don't think teams are going to want to play the Lakers in the playoffs. I'm telling you. If LeBron's right, AD's right, teams aren't going to want to play the Lakers. Let's see what the chat's guys say. Baller, start the Dizan Musa killing in the Spanish league with Real Madrid, former first rounder for the Nets. Yo, I love watching foreign basketball. The Euro League is kind of where I try to keep up with some Euro League action. PMG, that's big time. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on Musa. If we're talking Euro League, I always got to shout out my boy Vasilija Micic on Anadolu Efes. This guy's a combo guard. He needs to be in the NBA. He should have been in the NBA yesterday. I love Vasilija Micic. And there's another player who's absolutely tearing it up. And I'm blanking on his name right now, but the Sacramento Kings own his rights. Anyway, I got to pull up his name. I can't pronounce it. But let's get back to NBA. Thanks, PMG. Lakers got better. Okay. Fable says, are the Kings really thinking about buying out Rashawn Holmes? I haven't heard that. The buyout market, there's only like 8 or 9 days left in this buyout market. So things are going to start heating up, right? Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel is every Warriors fan's like, oh, let's go get Nerlens Noel, right? Well, are the Sixers going to buy him out? They should, right? They just got James Wiseman. They got, who is it? Jalen Duren, I believe, is another big man with Detroit. So they absolutely should buy out Nerlens Noel and let the veteran go to another team, in my opinion, just because they got young bigs, and the Warriors should absolutely be interested in that. Kelly Olynyk's another player who's been tossed around in the buyout market. I don't think he's getting bought out. It's just, you never know with the buyout market. You just don't know. There it is. Yeah, I don't know how they pulled it off. I don't know how they pulled it off either. And they only had to give up one first-round pick in that, and that was in the Russell Westbrook D'Angelo Russell trade. That was ludicrous to me. I thought that would have been at least 2 or 3 first-round picks to get the younger, more talented D'Angelo Russell. That was a head scratcher. I agree, Fable. All right. That's about it for the NBA talk today. Why don't we go to the NFL? Do a little NFL season wrap up, okay? We all watched the Super Bowl and the Chiefs, man. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. Hey, I got to tip my cap to you. You got Patrick Mahomes making just spectacular off-schedule plays down the field. I mean, look at his receiving core, okay? He didn't have Tyreek Hill this year. Who were Patrick Mahomes' receivers? We know, obviously, Travis Kelce's there. That's 1A. But the receiving core, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a rookie Sky Moore, a Kadarius Toney who couldn't even get on the field with the Giants, a white boy named Watson. I mean, come on. Mahomes is making these dudes look like big-time studs. Mahomes is just absolutely incredible. So he's making all these difficult plays. And then you got Andy Reid, who's just scheming walk-in touchdowns, multiple walk-in touchdowns in the Super Bowl. It's outstanding. Andy Reid. The dude's next level, right? It's like Andy Reid's watching the tape and he notices, hey, if we put our receivers in motion, the Eagles, when they match that motion with their DB, they're looking around, communicating. They just absolutely ran circles around the Eagles. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, it's a dynasty in the making. I hate to say it. It's a dynasty in the making. I'm glad. Actually, I'm not glad. I take that back. I'm not glad. I want to talk about Eric Bieniemy. I was disappointed. Bieniemy has to make a lateral move to go to Washington just to show that, hey, I'm a legit offensive mind. It isn't all Andy Reid in Kansas City. So, I thought that kind of sucked on Bieniemy's half. I thought he should have been a head coach by now. Kim says, I didn't watch a second of the Super Bowl. It was a good game, Kim. It was a good game. But I know what you mean because I was really frustrated. I was rooting against the Eagles for whatever reason. Fable says, I don't see Kerr playing Noel much. He doesn't fit the system Kerr runs. You're probably right. Kerr doesn't like playing bigs. I just don't know if you can go into the playoffs, Fable, with like only Looney, Draymond, I mean, Jermichael Green. I guess that's probably enough bigs for Kerr. You're probably right. It's probably enough bigs for Kerr. But in my season wrap up, I just want wrap up. I wanted to shout out the Chiefs because it feels like it's just a dynasty in the making. Um, they're going to be here year in and year out as long as you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Okay. Now, looking at the NFC, I want to look at the Eagles because the Eagles, you hear a lot of talk amongst 49ers fans about how it's going to be Niners and Eagles going forward. And I agree with that. Those are the two top teams looking at the NFC, at least looking into next year and trying to project. I pulled up the Eagles free agents that they have this year. Get a load of these free agents. There's some big names. Eagles, no way they're keeping all these guys. There's going to be multiple of these primetime free agents that get away from Philly. And we're talking Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, who's a monster. Jason Kelsey will probably stay there. I can't see him anywhere else. James Bradbury had a really good year at corner for him. He's a free agent. You got their two top linebackers, TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, both of them free agents. Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph. Those are all defensive players except for Kelsey. So their defense is getting hit hard by free agency. On the offensive end, they're going to have to do something with Miles Sanders, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's been a name I know 49ers fans really want as a free agent acquisition. He's also a free agent for Philly. Marcus Epps, another safety. So they got a bunch of free agents on defense. Their defense is going to look drastically different next year, if you ask me. Yeah, Fable, we're on the same page. Fable says Eagles are about to have a mass exodus of free agents. Yeah, they are. And they're like all on the defensive side of the ball. So, hey, so it happens. You make a Super Bowl run. Usually that means you got a lot of talent. And when you got a lot of talent, teams want to pluck that. They want to pluck some players away from you. So, absolutely. Eagles are going to lose some talent here in the offseason. Let's talk Niners. I want to talk Niners. So, in the offseason, the number one goal of the offseason is what? It's to get better. The team needs to get better, right? So we're looking at where can the 49ers improve, all right? We obviously know they're supremely talented. They got a lot of talent. But hey, it's the offseason. You're always looking to upgrade. You don't want to be content with what you have. You're always looking to get better. Okay, so I'm looking at defensive tackle. Shout out E. Kim, man. E. Kim just read my mind. Oh, not that comment right here. E. Kim says 49ers need a big defensive tackle that can take two blockers like a Hargrave and De'Aaron Payne this offseason. Now, there's no way you're getting both of those guys, Kim. If they got one of them, that would be outstanding. I would probably prefer De'Aaron Payne just because I think he's a little bit better in the run game. I think Javon Hargrave gets kind of pass rush eccentric. He's a really good pass rusher, Javon Hargrave, from the defensive tackle position. But I'd probably prefer De'Aaron Payne. But to be honest, I don't think we're getting either one of these guys, Kim. I think both of these guys are probably a little out of our price range. I've actually, for the defensive tackle position, that's the first position I've hit really hard, kind of scouting it NFL draft wise. And I got my notes right here. I've been watching defensive tackles. I started over the last 4 or 5 days. Some names that potentially could be there at I mean, see, the thing is the Niners picks are all at the end of the third round. So it's like, is Siaki Ika from Baylor going to make it to the end of the third round? I doubt it, but he's a guy you want. Cam, you're talking about a big DT that can take on two blockers. That's this kid from Baylor, Siaki Ika. Or Mozzie Smith out of Michigan, another defensive tackle I really like. The dude's 6'3", 330 pounds. He's a big boy. He's a wide body. But I don't think those two are going to be there at the end of the third round. Whoa there. Whoa there. Shout out to my boy, Jaguayo. Jaguayo. That's big time. If the 49ers get one of those, who would you get? We're talking Hargrave or Daron Payne, Jaguayo. If that's what we're saying, I'm going Daron Payne for what I just said. I think he's a little more stout in the run game. He also gets after the quarterback. I think he's harder to move, Jaguayo. And I think in this system, we saw what happened to Javon Kinlaw in the playoffs where he was just getting thrown out of gaps. Put Daron Payne in there, and I'm confident that he'll kind of lock things up. He's an immovable object in the middle of that defense. I think he does that a little better than Hargrave, although both of them are just phenomenal defensive tackles. But I'm going Daron Payne. Hopefully that answered you. And thank you for that super chat. That's big time. I'd go for Saunders from KC. Yeah, that's a good name. I've talked to Larry Kruger. He also likes Saunders from Kansas City. Kim says, hey, I just want another DJ Jones. I hear you, Kim, and that's what I want to give you. And I'm thinking you get a guy like that in the draft. I mean, is it Kalia Davis? Kalia Davis, he had a redshirt year coming off the ACL. But I liked what I saw from him when I was, watching his tape last year. Couple more D tackles to monitor in the draft. Moro Ajomo from Texas. I liked him, although he's not a big defensive tackle, and I kind of like Kim's idea that like we need a big boy, like an immovable object in there. Zach Pickens. He's 6'4", 305. The thing is, though, what I will say is the Niners don't go for two down run stuffers. They don't. They don't have just these like Vince Wilfork, like just 350-pound dudes who don't do nothing, but they don't move. Niners don't go for those guys. So, like, that's where, like, there's a Keandre Coburn in this draft. He's also from Texas, but he's 6'2", 343 pounds. I mean, a lot of that's sloppy weight, though. I got to say, a lot of it's sloppy weight. But the Niners typically don't go for those kind of defensive tackles. So I said I liked Pickens. Who was another guy I like? Byron Young. Byron Young from Alabama. Okay, Alabama, I mean, they churn out NFL players. It's like clockwork, right? But Byron Young, I think he's projected to go right around the third round. Is he going to make it to the end of the third? Probably not. But if the Niners wanted to package a couple of their late thirds to move up into, I might get you to the end of the second and grab a player like Byron Young. He's not flashy, but he's just a damn good player. You're just watching the tape, and Byron Young's just getting the job done. He's physical. He's smart. I like Byron Young out of Alabama. And then a couple other guys. These are a smaller player from San Diego State, Jonah Tavai. He's 6 foot, 290 pounds. Talk about just built-in leverage. 6 foot, 290 pounds, and the dude's got great hands. Like, he was getting after quarterbacks. But the only thing is he doesn't have that length, right? A lot of times you like that length on the inside, so when you can reach out and grab a quarterback. Tavai doesn't have that length, but he's just a damn good football player. And then our last name I got for you, talking D tackles for the NFL draft, is a Jacob Slide from Michigan State. I liked what I saw from him. So I saw good hands. He's got really good acceleration at the snap. One of the negatives I wrote is I want to see more pop. Seems like more of a finesse D tackle in terms of his pass rush skills. I want to see that bull rush where you can just shove a guard back into the quarterback. Mortal Jomo has very long arms. Keandre Coburn of Texas is 6'3", 340 pounds. Hey, Kim, defensive tackle is the position that I've evaluated the hardest so far. And I'm mostly diving into these defensive tackles in the draft because that's a primetime need for the 49ers. We need a defensive tackle, right? The Niners, I know we had this great rush defense, right? We had the best rushing defense in the NFL. I'm not giving the credit to the interior of the D line. Okay, as much as I've been hyping up Kevin Givens, he wasn't the reason the rush defense was so good. Armstead missed a chunk of the season. He's not the reason. It's the linebackers, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and then it's their corners, dude. On the outside runs, Charvarius Ward, Diamador Lenore, Jimmy Ward in the slot. Like, we have the most physical cornerbacks in the NFL. Like, all of our corners will tackle, they will pop you. And I'm giving those guys credit for having the best rush defense in the NFL, along with the safeties, Talanoa Hufanga mixes it up in the box. He's a good run defender. But I'm looking to upgrade that interior of the D line. Really, the D line is going to be revamped. It needs to be revamped. Fellas, the only defensive ends under contract next year, 49ers only have 2 defensive ends under contract next year. Nick Bosa and Drake Jackson, who couldn't even get on the field, right? They're losing. Well, I'll say they're losing Charles Omenihu, but we don't know they're losing that, right? But they have free agents that need to be re-signed if they want to bring him back. In Charles Omenihu, in Jordan Willis. Let me pull it up just so I don't miss anyone. But this defensive line, it's got a lot of free agents. Yeah, I got it pulled up right here. Samson Ebelkam's a free agent, Kerry Hyder, like all these guys were getting snaps. So there's going to be some work to be done. John Lynch, he should be grinding the tape to figure out what defensive lineman can come in and make an impact because we got to add talent, man. You got to add someone opposite Bosa. Omenihu had a good year. He might get priced out. Dude, D'Amico might just bring him back to the Texans. Remember, we got Omenihu from the Texans. Hey, D'Amico might bring him back along with Azeez Al-Shaair. I don't expect Azeez Al-Shaair. That's the one free agent I think we can all say bye to now is Azeez. And I'm a big Azeez fan. He's just too damn good to be a third linebacker on this team. He could be other teams' number 1 linebacker. There's probably 10 teams in the NFL where Azeez Al-Shaair would be the best linebacker on that team. That's how I feel about it. Player that I love in this draft is the defensive end from Iowa. Okay, I'll check him out, Kim. Yeah, there it is. Me and Kim are on the same page. You're saying we got to find an end to complement Bosa. I know, Kim. I know. My last live, I threw out the Ayuk. Would you trade Ayuk for Joey Bosa? I don't think people want to hear about that. I might. Just because, to get a supremely talented player like Joey Bosa, you got to give up talent, right? Just how it works. Let's see what other thoughts did I have on this one. Okay, yeah, we're looking to upgrade, right? That's the goal for the 49ers this offseason. Where can you upgrade? Well, at right tackle, it's going to be hard to upgrade right tackle. I'm going to be real with you. you're probably going to try to break even. You're going to hope that Colton McKivitz can give you replacement level production compared to Mike McGlinchey. I think that's where this is headed. Or if you sign a free agent, whatever tackle it is, he's going to be cheaper than Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey is one of the top tackles on the market. He's about to get paid. And I think he's going to be out of the 49ers price range. So I think you're looking at just breaking even at right tackle. I don't know how much you're going to be able to improve. You might be able to improve in pass protection, but McGlinchey is good in the run game. So, Caleb McGarry, that's the one name I've seen thrown around where, yeah, he might be an upgrade to Mike McGlinchey. If you can get him for cheaper than Mike, then go for it. Oh, Fable says, I hope Seattle doesn't swipe Al-Shaair. Well, they have Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks is a good young linebacker, but yeah, I mean, you need more than one guy. Seattle loves stealing our dudes too, Fable. They love just stealing Niners players after we got to let them go. Jaguayo's been doing his research. I'm all over it, Jaguayo. Kalia Cansey. This dude's going in the first round though, Jaguayo. That's the thing. This dude Cansey is insane. Cansey, I remember he was making wow plays. Okay, so he's a smaller guy. That's what I wrote. The guy's got a high motor. He was all over the field. Is this dude Cansey? He's a playmaker. Absolutely. I mean, if you can get Kalia Cansey, if he got to the second round and you can trade up to go get a Kalia Cansey, absolutely you do that. His acceleration at the snap was phenomenal. It's another one of the things I wrote down when I was scouting Kalia Cansey. Out of Pitt, yeah. Out of Pitt. Like Aaron Donald. Out of Pitt. That's big time. As far as that, and then I'm looking at ways, right? We want to upgrade. It's going to be hard to upgrade the secondary if Jimmy Ward walks. I'm telling you, that's going to be hard. If Jimmy Ward gets paid by another team, I'm trying to think how can the 49ers make do, right? And here's what I'm thinking. Let me know if you like this. So let's say Jimmy Ward gets priced out. Some team pays him 15, 16 mil a year, whatever, 3 years, 45 mil. 49ers can't match it. Here's what I'm thinking. Bring back Emmanuel Mosley, who we don't know what Emmanuel Mosley's price is going to be. Because, yeah, he's a young corner. He's a good player, but he's coming off an ACL, right? I think the 49ers should pounce on the opportunity to bring back Emmanuel Mosley and do it. Don't give him just a 1-year deal. Make it a 2-year deal. 2 years, 20 mil. I'd give E-Man 10 mil per. I think Emmanuel Mosley is just a really good player, right? So now you got 3 corners that I like when you're talking Charvarius Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Diamador Lenore. And I've always thought Diamador Lenore kind of profiles as a slot. So I think that's what you do there. If Jimmy Ward has to walk, if he gets paid elsewhere, I want E-Man back outside, Charvarius Ward outside, Diamador Lenore in the slot. That's how I would run it. And then safety, you're probably trying to bring back Tayshaun Gibson, or another name I got for you is a Juan Thornhill. Just won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. I really liked Juan Thornhill coming out of Virginia. Yeah, so I mean, those are just some safeties to monitor. I mean, Tayshaun Gibson should be cheap again. I mean, and he had a good year. That's a way teams can save some money. The way the 49ers can save some money and still have a really good secondary. Hey, this is the time where we go to the chat. I'm going to the chat. I'm taking questions From the chat, let's see. Did I have any other topics I wanted to hit on? I mean, we could, yeah. I'll put up some of these free agents here. I made this like a couple weeks ago in preparation for all the 49ers free agents. Jimmy Ward, or we'll go down the list over here. Jimmy Ward, I think he's gone. I think he's going to get priced out. I want him back because he was a really good nickel. Talk about a nickel that he's like an extra linebacker out there. Jimmy Ward just makes tackles all over the place. Tackles for loss. He's shooting gaps. Just really good in the run. And then he was also good in coverage. So Jimmy Ward, man, he's just a really good player. It's too bad if the 49ers can't bring him back. Jimmy G, he's gone. Ebu Cam, man, I like Ebu Cam, but we got to get better. 49ers need to upgrade from Ebu Cam. That was the guy the Niners were counting on to be opposite Bosa. And he was good, but he wasn't great. And like I said, you want to upgrade. We want to get better. Sorry, Samson. Emmanuel Mosley, I want Emmanuel Mosley back. McGlinchey, I think he's priced out. Omenahu, after Bosa, let me know if you guys agree with this, but Omenahu was the next best defensive lineman, at least the most consistent throughout the year. Let me remind you, Armstead missed a big chunk of last year. So I think Omenahu, he might be getting priced out too, fellas. Sorry to say. Al-Shair's gone. Robbie Gould, I mean, I'd probably try to bring back Robbie Gould. I just hate having the kicker position in flux. Like when you're one of those teams that's like every year there's always a couple teams that go through like 2-3 kickers and it's just atrocious in terms of just the kicking accuracy. Robbie Gould just kind of you just know what you're going to get. You're going to get nothing over 53 yards, but everything within in that it feels like he hits it at like a 90% clip, you know? Jake Brendel's a free agent. I think they got to bring him back, man. I think they got to bring him back. I know Kruger really likes Nick Zakel. You know, Jason Poe is really popular amongst Niners fans. He won whatever the practice player of the year award, practice squad player, whatever that is. I like Poe, but he hasn't played center. So be a big leap to like not play center, then be a starting NFL center in your first year. Like, be a big leap. So I would bring Brendel back. The guy's been a career backup. He's been with the offensive line coach Chris Forrester in Miami and now here in San Francisco. So, and actually, I saw a quote from Jake Brendel. It was like, "Look, I love Kyle Shanahan's offense. I love the scheme, but I got to do what's right for my family." Essentially, I'm paraphrasing. So Brendel, you know, these players want to get paid, right? Platform 246, thanks for coming by. Yeah, he says Ward's gone. Yeah, I think so too. Platform. Kim says Jimmy G needs to find a new team. Stat. I'm hearing the Raiders, little Raiders rumors. Him and Josh McDaniels reuniting. Maybe. I could also see Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders too. I don't know. I could see that happening. Just going back with Devontae. Oh, Kim says Jimmy Ward is going to Houston. You know, D'Amico's going to want a couple guys. Anytime you always want a few players just to help establish the culture. Get some players in the locker room that you know just to kind of set the foundation, that know the scheme. That's possible, Kim. Damn, I didn't even think of that. Oh, I don't know why for D'Amico, I keep thinking he's gonna steal like Al-Shair and like Omenahu, but it might be Jimmy Ward. Brunskill is too valuable for versatility. Gibson, 5 interceptions. Jaguayo, I'm with you. I want Brunskill back too. Why? And hold up. Jaguayo making it rain out here. Hey, Jaguayo, I appreciate that super chat. Thank you. Brunskill could be the backup at all 5 positions legitimately. Left tackle, left guard, guard, right tackle. He could do it all. Brunskill, his versatility, I agree with you, Jaguar. I want Brunskill back for that reason. Like when you have to put him in at guard, like he's solid, he's decent. We know what Brunskill's issues are, right? It's when you get a big, powerful defensive tackle. When you put Chris Jones over him, he's going to struggle. Chris Jones makes a lot of players struggle, but when you put big, super strong physical tackles, those are the guys that give Brunskill problems. But 9 out of 10 times, Brunskill's getting the job done. I would absolutely love to have Brunskill back just in that 6th offensive line, that swing tackle role, that backup guard or backup center. So I'm with you. Okay, we hit on Jordan Willis. I want Jordan Willis back. I like Jordan Willis. I think he's just a good player. I feel like the last couple years he's really came on strong towards the latter end of the year. Both years he was with us. And I want him back. Again, I'm not paying a premium. Niners can't do that anyway. Niners don't have a ton of cap. They're going to create cap. They're going to be restructuring a bunch of players and pushing money back. Well, that's why the Niners are paying D Ford $8 million this year, okay? Because that's what they did. They're pushing money back. I don't know how many times you want to do it. Okay. Otherwise, pretty soon you'll end up looking like the Saints. So Jordan Willis, I want him back at the right price. Gibson, hey, Joao said it right here. 5 interceptions. The dude was making plays. We haven't seen a player get interceptions like that for the Niners. When's the last time a Niner had 5 picks? Let me know. I'll wait. I don't know. It's been a while. It wasn't Jaquaski Tart or Jimmy Ward. I'll tell you that right now. And then the rest of these names, yeah, Hassan Ridgeway. Honestly, I'd probably bring Ridgeway back early on in that year. I thought Ridgeway was giving you good snaps. I think he should be cheap. Kerry Hyder, he can bring him back for a practice squad body. Everyone's favorite tight end law firm, Croft and Dwelly, right? They'll cover you. If you need attorneys, hit up Croft and Dwelly. Well, if you need a number 2 tight end, don't hit him up. Okay. Those guys can be your third guy. The Niners need to upgrade the tight end 2 position. We're looking to upgrade. That's what the Niners' goal, John Lynch, Parag. I'm looking at you guys. The goal is to get better. Where can you get better? Tight end 2. Should have brought in a tight end 2 last year, like I was telling you guys to do. I was saying go and get a Hayden Hurst. Go and get an Evan Ingram, who had a really good year for the Jaguars. This year, I'm thinking, why don't you get like a really good blocking tight end 2? Okay. Is there some recency bias there from the missed block that got Purdy hurt? Yeah, probably. And we got to talk about Purdy too. Purdy, the surgery is delayed. I just got that notification right before we went live. In fact, you know what? Let me type that in. We gotta go. Let's go full on Purdy surgery mode here. I gotta type this in here too. Bear with me here. We'll make a whole deal about it. Oh my God, Purdy surgery delayed. Okay, there we go. All right, thanks for bearing with me there. Brock Purdy, we just got word that his surgery has been delayed. Maybe I can get the direct quote from Tom Pelissero right here. Per Tom Pelissero, 49ers QB Brock Purdy today visited Dr. Keith Meister, who recommended postponing surgery because of ongoing inflammation in Purdy's elbow, per sources. They'll reconvene in early March. All signs continue to point to a UCL repair that would have Purdy ready for the 2023 season. Sounds like Purdy's still going to be ready for the start of the 2023 season, but fellas, it ain't ideal. I'll tell you that. It ain't ideal that what are we, a month away from the injury? There's still so much inflammation that they can't do the surgery right now. It's not good. And what does that mean? Well, let's see. This guy right here. 5. Trey Lance. I want to see what Trey Lance has got, man. I feel like I know what Brock Purdy is, and he only played nine games for us. I feel like I kind of know what Brock Purdy is, and he's good. I like Brock Purdy. He's good. He's like a tier above Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And I mean, and Purdy, the guy was a rookie. He could continue to get better, but it feels like we kind of know what Purdy is, and he's good. I want to know what Lance is because I got no idea what Lance is. The guy hasn't played back-to-back games. We've only seen him in 4 starts. I mean, again, you can't even count the Seahawks start. We've seen him play 3. One of them was a monsoon where it was hard to could barely grip the football, right? So really, I mean, what now? We've seen 2 starts now from Trey Lance. I want to see what the kid's got. All right, going in to next year, I know the locker room wants Purdy, and Purdy, he has earned it. But dude, we got to find out what Lance is all about, man. So with the injury to Brock Purdy, I feel like it gives Kyle Shanahan the leash to say, hey, Purdy's working through it. Lance had all the reps in the offseason, OTAs, probably at the start of training camp, it'll be mostly Lance. I mean, unless Purdy has this miraculous recovery. But I'll give Lance 4 games. Let's give Lance 3 or 4 games. Let's see how he does, man. If this dude, he has superstar potential, right? We've talked about the traits at nauseum. He's got all the tools. I want to see it on the field. All right. I want to see it in live action with these weapons, right? With George Kittle on the field, with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. You can run some of that cam stuff, some of that read option. I want to see Trey Lance. I want to see what the kid's got. Because if not, okay, you play Purdy. If he stays healthy, Trey Lance, he doesn't play again. Then what do we know about Trey? We still don't know nothing about Trey Lance. Want to find out what Trey's got. So I would say at the start of the year, give Trey 3 or 4 games, man. And if he starts playing, if the Niners are 4-0 and he's looking like he's better than Brock Purdy, then it's Lance season. If he's struggling, if he's missing throws, if he's skipping passes, like we've seen him do on occasion, we know he misses high sometimes, then you just go to Purdy. I guess the easiest thing. If Lance struggles for 2 or 3 games and it's looking ugly, boom, you go to Purdy as long as he's ready and the elbow's feeling all right. But once you go to Purdy, I don't think you're going back to Lance. And then what? Then you're going to renew his. Then you got to trade him, and you still don't know what he is. Then he goes to the Houston Texans, and the Texans find out, hey, guess what? Trey Lance is really freaking good. Okay, you don't want to do it. I mean, the Warriors just traded James Wiseman, who's relatively unknown entity. Although James Wiseman, we know more about James Wiseman than we do about Trey Lance. I'll say that right now. Let's see what the comments are saying. Too soon? Okay, hold up. Whose birthday is it? Is it Eric? Is it Eric Wallace's birthday? The soon-to-be birthday boy is here. I'm missing something. Fill me in. Fill me in, fellas. Yeah. Eric, in some places it's your birthday. Hey, somewhere in the world it's your birthday. Josh, thanks for coming by, Josh. It ain't my birthday. Okay, Jaguayo. Jaguayo been coming through clutch today. Woo! Purdy will not be ready, so Trey has to take QB1. Hey, I think Lance is going to be ready, man. Trey Lance is going to be ready. This dude's waiting for his moment. See him right here? He's got the grin on, spinning the football. He's ready to roll. Thank you, Jaguayo. I appreciate that. Hey, fellas. Hey, this was a live stream. I had a blast. We'll hit up some of these last comments and then shoot, we'll wrap it up and get out of here. Any last questions, drop them in the comments section right now. Well, I'm going to answer all the questions here, that pop up over the next few minutes. Sounds like, hey, Fable's excited to see some Lance. Hey, man, I want to see what he's got, dude. I feel like Lance has got it up here. He's got all the tools. He just got to put it together. Okay. We know about the limited reps. Well, he needs the experience. How do you get better if you're not on the field in the rain of fire, getting pressure, having defensive ends, defensive tackles fly by you? You're throwing in the face of pressure. There's only one way to find out, only one way to get better. Trey Lance needs to be on the field. We got to see what he's got. If Trey is the guy, he can be the QB to match up with Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. Jaguayo, that's what I want to find out. It's like, look, I like Purdy. Purdy's good, okay? But I want to find out if Lance is great. When you draft a quarterback, when you draft a player with the third pick in the NFL draft, it's because you think they are going to be great. John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, they thought Trey Lance was going to be great, okay? Let's find out. We got to find out, all right? We're not going to find out if he's sitting on the bench. It's a bit of a tricky position because we know the locker room likes Purdy. The Cancun boys or the Cabo boys. They're probably FaceTiming Purdy right now. I don't know if they're FaceTiming Trey. But hey, we want to find out what Lance has got. Okay, because this kid, he's got the tools, he's got the mindset. We got to find out. Jaron says Trey area. That's right. I know, Josh. Josh has got those Lance autographs ready to roll, man. He wants that stock to explode. I know what you about, Josh. Do you like the idea of the Warriors signing Ibaka or Dedmon? Listen, between those two, I'd probably lean Dwayne Dedmon, although I think Dedmon's already off the market, Fable. Let me look it up here. I thought he was, Sixers. Yeah, Dwayne Dedmon's on the Sixers. Yeah. So cross that one off, Fable. Dedmon's with the Sixers. So it's like, if the Jazz bought out Kelly Olynyk, that'd be great. Nerlens Noel, who's the other one? Dario Saric kind of feels like a Warriors type of player, although I think the Thunder kind of like him, so they might not be buying him out. But hey, we're over the hour mark, fellas. Thank you guys for coming by. This was the first episode 1 of Baller Talk. I had a lot of fun. Man, Jaguayo has been helping me out big time today with the super chats. Jaguayo, that's big time. I appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed the show. There's going to be more of these baller talks coming where we're just talking about whatever's relevant in sports. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking out the show. Jaguayo, you're the man. And we'll do this again soon. All right.